Ciao! Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This video is perfect if you're interested in expanding your vocabulary. And I'm talking about everyday useful vocabulary. In this lesson, we will learn together to describe and talk about food in terms of containers and quantities. So that the next time you come to Italy and you're going food shopping, you can say sentences like this. Vorrei un etto di prosciutto cotto. Vorrei una fetta di torta. Vorrei un quarto di vino. So we're talking about food shopping. Let's start from the first thing that you need when you're going food shopping. When you're going food shopping, you're going to make a list. And how do you say that in Italian? The shopping list is called la lista della spesa. You're going to use the verb fare when you say that you are creating it, you're making it. So you will say fare la lista della spesa. If you're saying that you are doing it, you're going to say faccio la lista della spesa. Quick curiosity. If you're saying fare la spesa, you are saying that you're going food shopping. So you're going grocery shopping, okay? You're not going to buy clothes or anything else. If you're buying other things that are not food, you are going to say fare gli acquisti or fare le compere, or an easy version that we sort of stole from English, fare shopping. Okay, let's go immediately to all of these containers. So let's focus on the different containers that you can have in terms of food. Remember that as always, you have this entire list beautifully written out for you on my blog page at italianlanguagehub.com, or you can click on the link that you find here below and you can download a PDF and print it out and keep it with you to review as many times as you want. Okay, so I will show you, obviously, what the containers are and I will tell you the name in Italian. Una bottiglia di vino, una bottiglia d'acqua, una lattina di Coca-Cola, una lattina di birra. Now, as you see, I'm telling you the name of the container and then I'm adding a food. Now, as an exercise, try to write down a couple of sentences with this container and another liquid or another type of food that can be inside it. This is good practice to create sentences that make sense for you and also sentences that you can use in your daily Italian. Okay, so as you see these containers appearing, just, write something. For example, if you do not like Coke, and so you will never buy a can of Coke, you might want to say, compro una lattina di Sprite. Okay, so make a little sentence that makes sense for you to associate the container and what's inside it. Okay, this is a very good practice to keep up with your Italian. Now, I will give you the list of all of the other containers, and then I'm going to move on to different types of quantities. Un cartone di latte, un barattolo di marmellata, una scatola di biscotti, una confezione di pasta, un pacchetto di pasta, un sacchetto di patatine, una scatoletta di tonno, una barretta di cioccolato, una cassa di mele. You can also say una cassetta di mele o di arance, un tubetto di dentifricio. The next little section we'll talk about a quantity that is not like mentioned with kilos or liters and so on, but it's like a quantity that can be grouped together. So you can have un casco di banane to say that you have a bunch of bananas. Un mazzo di fiori to say that you have like a bouquet of flower. Okay, so you have a lot of flowers put together, like in a bouquet, is un mazzo di fiori. And how about if you want some cake, a little piece of cake? You could say un pezzo di torta, una fetta di torta, un trancio di pizza, or a slice of pizza. Now, we talked about containers, we talked about like pieces and things bunched together. Now let's focus on quantities. In my first example, I talked about etto. What is etto? Un etto equals 100 grams. So if you're going food shopping and, for example, you're going to get like slices of ham, so you are not going to say, I want like a couple of slices. You're going to give them a quantity in a weight. In this case, since you're in Italy, you need to talk about grams and kilograms. You're going to tell them how many grams of something you need. So, un etto is 100 grams. If you ask for un etto di prosciutto cotto, they will give you 100 grams of ham, prosciutto ham. You can go in higher quantities. You can say un etto e mezzo. So 100 grams and half of 100 grams, which is 50. So in this case, un etto e mezzo means 150 grams. Keep this as a rule. And then obviously you can make it higher. 2 etti, 3 etti, 4 etti. So you have 200 grams, 300 grams, and 400 grams. Make sure that if you're asking for 100, you're going to say etto with an O at the end because it's the number 1, which is considered a singular number. If you're moving along, you're going from 2 on, then you have to change to the plural form. So you will no longer say etto, but you will say etti with an I at the end. If you reach 500 grams, you could say 5 etti, or you can simply say half a kilo, mezzo chilo. If you are talking about liters, you can obviously say un litro, so 1 liter. Be sure to change when you're going from 2 on and make the word plural, so un litro, and with an O. If you're going to from 2 on, you're going to say 2 litri, 3 litri, 4 litri. This is useful when you're going to a restaurant because usually the waiter might ask you what kind of water you want, and you might tell them that you want sparkling or natural water, but he sometimes will ask you for the quantity. So he might say, un litro va bene? Asking you, is 1 liter of water good? Or they can ask you for a smaller quantity, mezzo litro, so the small half a liter bottles, or the ones that are a little bit bigger, which are the ones that we call da 75. So be sure to know these quantities because they might ask you which one you prefer. Remember that you have all of this information in the PDF or also on my blog page if you missed out on some of these info. When you're talking about eggs, you're going to say una dozzina di uova, so a dozen eggs, or una mezza dozzina di uova, half a dozen of eggs. Or simply, you might just be interested in having a couple of anything. And in this case, you would say un paio di biscotti, 2 cookies, un paio di uova, 2 eggs. Your homework for today is to go check your shopping list and write a couple of things that are on your shopping list in the comments here below. Make sure to tell me the quantity and obviously what you're buying, okay? If you need anything, obviously write a comment, and thank you once again for all of the super thanks that I am receiving. Thank you, they have really helped me. If you're interested in knowing how to become a super fan, just click on the heart that you find below this video. Thank you and see you next week. Un bacione. Ciao.